a brief episode. Make it one for my baby and one more for the road. That long, long road.
Not much action around here tonight.
Begins to look like we eat at home.
Begins to look like we eat at home the whole weekend.
Yeah, something's arriving.
One of them doesn't look too bad.
Yours, I suppose.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right, I'll get it. Thank you. There you are.
Thank you.
We'd be very happy to buy you a drink.
Thank you again.
Why don't we sit at the table?
You live here?
No. All my life I've lived north of San Francisco.
What's a San Franciscan doing in Los Angeles?
Convention.
Salesman?
Sort of. Let me ask you a question now. You come from Boston?
No, London.
You come from London?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's a Londoner doing in L.A.?
The Air Force. Sergeant I met in England.
Can I ask you a question? What happened to the sergeant?
Oh, he's still flying.
Still flying. Where?
Who knows?
So it's just like that?
Just like that. Think what it would do to him. Better make the call now.
Oh, I suppose so. I suppose so. Unless...
That's what?
I could say I shot him. I could say it was an accident. Gino and I quarreled at the party. Everybody saw it. After you left, we made up. But everybody didn't see that. And I left and I said to Gino, come to my home. Come to my home and I'll make you a deal for your vineyard. Then I came home and you told me about the prowler. Then the gun. And then Gino came.
But you came together.
No, we didn't. He passed me on the road. That's how he got here first.
Well, surely he would have told somebody he was coming.
No, he'd never tell anybody anything. He did not want the man from Fresno to know that he was coming here to make a deal about the vineyard. Tracy, it's all very simple. Nobody saw him coming. Nobody saw him pass me on the road. He was unexpected.
What about my fingerprints? You remember what your brother said about locking the door?
I remember. I wish I'd listened to him.
What if I'd locked the door? What if we made it look as though Gino broken in?
Why would Gino break in?
Well, we don't know. Maybe he was drunk. But nobody in the world would think of blaming you if the lock was broken.
I'll make the call. You get my ropes. It looks like I was going to bed.
At least I was safe now. An accident, with Paul taking the blame. Suddenly, the idea began to change shape. What if, instead of an accident, I could make it look like the murder it was, with Paul still taking the blame?
No, I won't touch anything. Bye-bye.
Paul, where did you leave your car?
In the driveway.
At the back of his station wagon?
One thing I still can't quite figure. Why would Gino break in the door?
Well, when I was at the fair, well, everybody saw that he'd been drinking.
Men have to be pretty drunk break into a friend's house.
I think I have the explanation. I imagine Gino broke in just because he was a friend. Phyllis told you how she made Paul lock the door at my suggestion.
Yes, she did, Padre,
Up
but...
till that time, it had never been locked. All of Paul's friends knew that. They used to just barge in, yell hello. So when Gino tried the door...
I get it. Thought it was stuck and gave it a shove.
The lock being old and rusty, simply broke.
Last button accounted for. Don't take it too hard, Paul. Could happen to anyone. Coming back with us, Padre?
You sure you don't want me to stay, Paul?
No, I don't think there's any need to. Just as long as you come around first thing in the morning, then we'll talk to Mama.
Fine, first thing. Oh, good night, Phyllis.
Night, Stephen.
Everything's going to be all right.
Thank you for coming.
Good night, Mrs. Hochin.
Good night.
Good night, Paul.
Phyllis Hochin in the daytime. But at night, another Phyllis. The before Hochin Phyllis. The Phyllis of a year ago.
Couldn't have been a dream. The sound was so real, but it was sort of a rasping at the window.
Mama, please, excuse me for interrupting. Oh, Mr. Benton, you like some more wine, Teresa? Teresa, you bring some wine for Mr. Benton. You like some more? Thank you. You're welcome.
Paul, you're not listening to what I'm saying.
I'm listening. I told you before, it's all in the head. Besides, Phyllis told me all about your dream.
Feel dreamy myself.
Teresa, please, let me have some more for myself.
Did Phyllis tell you what your brother said? To lock the door?
Locked doors don't keep dreams out. Get out here, Teresa.
But they do keep out prowlers.
Yeah, well, we don't have any prowls in the vicinity. You know that. It's ridiculous.
But if Mama's worried, what's the harm in locking a door?
There's no harm in locking a door. I just don't intend to do it. It's as simple as that.
Now, Paul, don't speak to Father Stephen like that. You listen to what he says.
I apologize. I'm sorry. If he wants to lock a door, let him lock the church door. The doors in this house have been unlocked since my father lived here. They're going to be unlocked when my son lives here. Now, where's Mike? How come he's not at lunch?
Well, he said he wasn't hungry.
I'll explain later.
That's fine. Just make sure he doesn't miss the rodeo, that's all. Mr. Benton, you like to see our rodeo?
No more wine, please.
I don't think Mr. Benton's interested in rodeos right now.
Right? Who'd want to go to a rodeo with all this?
I'm not going either.
You must be joking.
No, I mean it.
I don't think you understand. The people of the valley expect you to be there. That's tradition. I don't think you understand that you're a Hochin now.
Maybe I'm not going just because I am a hooch.
Sitting around that stinking hotel. Hanging around town, watching them roll up the sidewalks. 9 o'clock. I'm fed up.
So you've decided to clear out, huh?
About the size of it.
Do you like this wine, Sam?
What's that got to do with it?
This whole winery, where it comes from. Have you any idea just how much it's worth? Well, I'll tell you. About $250,000.
Yeah?
Isn't that worth getting fed up for?
Yeah, it would be. If it had dropped. But it won't.
He was indicted, wasn't he?
Sure, they're just going through the motions. I got the scoop on that. Trial will be the same, a breeze. And then we're right back where we started from. What can you do about it?
There has to be something.
You could tell him the truth. Like you told me. Tell him how he killed Verdugo when he found you two together, and then he rigged things so as to look as though Verdugo had broken in. That'd swing it.
You want me to do that?
I guess you couldn't. It wouldn't be right. A wife shoving her husband in a gas chamber. Even if he has it coming. So it looks like we rode up a box canyon, baby. Nothing I can do. Nothing you can do.
Stan, do you believe in God?
I guess.
Enough to wait until the trial?
What are you getting at?
The old lady said something before you came. About God punishing the guilty. She's right. I know she's right. So you just stick around, Sam. You stick around and wait. House I hated so much. Paul's house. The one they now call the House of Death.
You shot him?
Why don't you come and take a look for yourself?
No, I can't look. He's dead, isn't he?
Who?
But whoever it was out there, isn't he dead? I don't see anything at all.
That's right.
But you fired.
You said you heard a prowler.
I did, Phyllis, I did. Somebody tried my window.
Oh, sure.
If you didn't believe me, why did you go outside with the gun?
To keep you quiet. There isn't anybody within a mile of here, and there never was.
Phyllis, I swear I heard something at my window.
Well, next time you hear somebody, you do the shooting, because the gun's right here and it's fully loaded.
Oh, if Paul were only at home.
Paul, what could he do?
Well, At least he would believe me.
Well, he's not here, and you know you can't get him at the fair.
Operator? Operator, I want the sheriff's office. Sheriff's office? This is Emma Hutchin. I want to report a prowler. Well, just Phyllis, my daughter-in-law. Thank you. They're going to send a man out. Phyllis. Phyllis! 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 Phyllis, where are you?
I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
I've only been looking at Michael.
Is he all right?
He's sound asleep in bed, and that's exactly where you should be. Now, come on.
Take it easy, baby.
I told you not to come here.
He also told me he was coming to the fair tonight. Now waited and waited. I ain't used to waiting.
I had to stay here.
You might have let me know.
How could I, with the old woman and the kid hanging around my neck every second? Please go before one of them catches us.
It's been a week now. Every night since the fair began. When you didn't come tonight, I'm telling you, it was kind of like the time I got trampled by a Brahma bull. You got me going, baby. Really going.
For both our sakes, please go.
Not without you. You're fed up to the ears here. Nursemaid, old lady. The kid. It's time you cleared out.
I already told you that was impossible.
You said no. But you told me yes. 6 nights now. You've been telling me yes. Haven't you? Yeah. Kiss me, baby.
See what it is.
Sheriff's office, Mr. Hutchin, and a somewhat dilapidated hitchhiker. Hello, Phyllis. Where's my mother?
Where else but in bed?
Is she all right?
Of course she's all right. So's Michael. Since when have you been working for the sheriff's office?
Oh, I'm not quite that hard up for sinners yet, Phyllis. I was getting a lift into town when your call came.
A prowler, the office said, Mrs. Hutchin. You any idea where he might be?
Oh, yes. Yes, I have a very good idea.
Where?
He's wandering around in one of your mother's nightmares. Ever since her last stroke, she's been dreaming that somebody's trying to break into the house. Tonight it was a man at the window. She wouldn't go back to bed until I let her phone the sheriff's office.
Well, maybe I better take a look around, just in case.
Oh, no, I don't want my mother-in-law disturbed now that she's finally asleep.
Well, wouldn't you like me to stay at least till Paul gets home?
I've told you, it was just a dream. We're perfectly all right. I'm sorry to have been such a bother.
Oh, that's what we get paid for, Mrs. Hochin. But I'd keep this door locked if I were you.
Surely you know my husband's views on locked doors.
Oh, yes, the family tradition. Extra food in the pot, extra places set at table for any passerby. In the living room, over the fireplace. My house is your house, friend. The door never locked. But you tell Paul I said to forget tradition.
Yes, Your Reverence.
After all, I wouldn't want anything to happen to you, Phyllis.
You mean you wouldn't want anything to happen to Paul's wife?
I can't deny that Paul is my brother.
Good night, Father.
Good night, Phyllis.
They've gone.
Boy, you're sure headed them off all right. One of them's his brother, isn't he?
Paul's brother, Paul's house, everything Paul's.
Including you, seems like it.
Now, you know better than that.
I thought I did. What is it you're really after? Yeah. Having your cake and eating it, too.
Such a handsome cake.
Oh, yeah. Can we get out of this house? Just for a little.
I don't know. Maybe for a minute. Down to the winery.
Phyllis?
It's no good. She'll be out of bed looking for me.
Instead of shooting and knocking out the door, why don't you shoot these ladies?
If I was going to shoot anybody, it wouldn't be her.
Daddy?
You've got to go. Do you think I like this any better than you do?
Maybe not. Depends on how I feel.
Michael's precious seashell. But it might just as well have been a stick of dynamite. The size of the explosion depended on what he had seen and what he would tell Paul. But I was marked down as the victim, unless the idea came out of all the little pieces of the night. Stephen fiddling with the old lock, shooting to scare the old woman. The deputy answering the call about the prowler. San saying cake and eating, too. Who blamed me for shooting in the dark? Especially if I fixed it afterwards so it looked like he forced the lock. With Paul gone, there'd only be Michael and the old lady. That's how it was the next morning. Everything different. The wind cool from the hills. The sun shining down on the vineyards. The vintage coming in. The grapes, names I barely knew, but looking like clusters of costume jewelry. Too big to be real. The night, and sand, and dreams. Only I couldn't quite forget them.
Martha, where's your boss?
Still at the vineyard, picking up the loose grapes.
Can't blame him. Grapes are gold, eh, Mr. Benton? You're lucky to see these. These are the finest grapes in California, maybe the finest grapes in the whole world. Grown by a friend of mine named Gino Verdugo. Gino Verdugo's a friend. He's one of these hand-selected, perfect jewel, rich and full, each a jewel.
If I'm not mistaken, Malvasia Bianca?
That's right. You know your grapes, don't you? I tell you something. From this grape, see, comes the kind of wine that emperors trade castles for. Oh, thank you. Then also, in my opinion, this is the kind of woman that emperors traded castles for. I'm sorry, beg your pardon. It's my wife, Phyllis, Mr. Benton.
How do you do, Mrs. Hochin?
Lunch is ready.
We have some business to take care of first, huh?
The brother's here again, so don't keep him waiting, too.
Mike,
Yes, Paul?
come here. Hurry up. Come on. Atta boy, come here. Now, do you want to help me and do me a favor and show Mr. Benton the winery?
That'd be fine.
All right.
Michael, did you do what I told you?
Not yet.
Go down to the house.
Yes, Mommy.
I guess we'll have to get along without him.
But if your lunch is ready and your brother is waiting,
I tell you, do me a favor. You stay for lunch as our guest.
Thank you.
Our house is yours, Mr. Benton. The front door is always unlocked. Family motto. Isn't it, dear?
That's right, darling. My grandfather came from Switzerland
And built the winery.
That's right. He built the winery, the cellars back there, house, everything outside. To him, it represented the promised land. The land of milk, the land of honey. Also the land of good, good wine. I remember my grandfather. I remember my grandfather saying that in such good land, there must be good people, so we never have our doors locked.
Remarkable.
The Hochin tradition, along with feeding stray dogs and tramps.
You mustn't misunderstand my wife, Phyllis. It's just that she doesn't understand tradition. She doesn't understand wines either, for that matter, but we're teaching her. Could I have the wine glasses? That's the tall glass.
I know.
Excuse me. Now here we have the wine we bottled young.
Uh-huh.
When it is fresh and delicate.
Gino, how are you? I'm glad to see you. We're just trying to figure out whether you grow wine, grapes, or raisins. Oh, excuse me, this is Gino Verdugo. Gino Verdugo, this is Mr. Benton.
How do you do?
Pleased to meet you,
Mr. Benton is a wine buyer from Boston.
Excuse me. Paul, I gotta speak with you. It's very important.
All right, you'll excuse me, please?
Of course.
Darling, wait a minute about the wine before you taste it. There's the aroma.
The whole routine, I know.
Something troubling you now? What's the matter?
Nothing's the matter. Come on. You know, I told you about that fellow that came to look the vineyard over?
You mean the man from Fresno?
Well, he came back today at the house to make me an offer.
How much?
$90,000.
That's a lot of money. You turned him down. I mean, you told him he couldn't sell.
I don't know, Paul. Maybe it's a good idea.
I think maybe it's a stupid idea.
Paul, listen,
No, you listen to me now. Who gave your fathers the lands and brought the vines from Europe?
Your grandfather.
Who saved them when they were sick?
Your father.
And who pays you double the market price?
You do, Paul.
All right, and you go back and you tell this man, Gino, this man from Fresno, you tell this businessman he should go away, leave the valley alone. He doesn't love the grape.
But, Paul,
Please now. I don't want to lose my temper with you. Oh, Carl.
Paul? Phyllis? I'm sorry to have to bring you down here, Paul.
I just don't understand why Phyllis has to be here, that's all.
Something new has come up. Something that requires a little explaining. Tom, will you get the letter? The one we found in Gino Verdugo's pocket. Read it.
Gino, meet me at the house tonight early while Paul's still at the party. He mustn't find us together because he might use that as an excuse to, I almost think, kill you. He's so angry. But surely between us, we can think of a way to patch up the quarrel before something terrible does happen. Signed, Phyllis.
Did you write that, Phyllis?
Yes, I did. I gave it to Gino yesterday evening.
You must have told Paul about it.
Well, no, I didn't. I didn't want him to think that I was meddling with his affairs.
Well, I don't mean during the day, but last night when Paul came home.
No, I was asleep then. The shot woke me up. Paul told you that.
But afterwards, you must have told him about it.
Well, I didn't. I forgot. You know, there was so much excitement going on.
You forgot the note? The note that was responsible for Gino's coming to the house? That's not possible, Phyllis.
Well, I did. Really, I did. I gave the note to Gino on the spur of the moment, and then, well, so many things happened. Paul, if you want me to...
That's all right. She told me right after I fired the gun.
Why didn't you tell Tom last night?
I don't know, Carl. I don't know why I didn't. Why do people become excited and confused at times like that? I don't know. I just thought maybe Gino destroyed the note and there wouldn't be any further complications.
It's something very odd here, Paul. The note, you're not telling us about it. As much as I regret it, I'm afraid we're going to have to...
Not with everybody in the valley watching me.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special press bulletin. Paul Hochin, wealthy owner of the famous Hochin Winery, was indicted by the grand jury for first-degree murder at 2:05 this afternoon. He was...
I'm terribly sorry, Mrs. Hochin.
Bye.
He also said, still strictly off the record, that there's nothing to worry about. There's no real case against you. That is, if you've been telling the truth. You have, haven't you?
Have I ever lied to you?
No. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, hello, Phyllis. Would you mind excusing us for a moment, Bob?
Sure, Father.
Thank you. Don't worry, Phyllis. He's going to be all right.
But he was indicted. I heard it over the radio.
He's still going to be all right.
You mean there isn't going to be a trial?
Yes, but he's going free. Now go in there and try to give him all the comfort you can.
What's all this that your brother's been telling me?
You mean what Carl said? He said everything's going to be fine.
I don't understand. Why are they still holding you for trial?
I don't know why. I don't know. I guess it's just legal procedure, something like that, I suppose.
Well, what about the letter? What does the sheriff say about that?
Well, he says that they investigated our story further and that he believes us. How's Mike?
Oh, I sent him back to school.
Why?
Well, let's face it, he's as bad for me as I am for him, and with all this trouble going on and you in here, I just thought it was the best thing to do. Don't you agree?
I do not agree at all, no. He should be at home with his mother. That's why I'm here.
Don't worry so, Phyllis.
I can't help worrying. We're all worried.
It will be all right. I know that he's innocent.
How do you know?
Well, I just know. Have faith. Put your faith in me, saith the Lord. The innocent and the just person thou shalt not put to death. That's from Exodus. His very words. He'll take care of Paul. He'll free the innocent just as he will punish the guilty. Have faith, Phyllis. Yes. Have faith.
So another brilliant ball over there and a very ambitious rider. Jerry Amber, Carolyn, and there he goes. Right up line. Right up, Jerry. They go for it. Oh, there goes the barrel. Now here he is back. Trying to stack up a few more points, and probably he will. That boy that carries number 8 on your program, Sam Sandberg. Chuck Hayward is hazing for him, and here he comes out in the Bulldog. And there goes Sam making a jump. He's got him. A real tough kick at him, boys. He's got him down. It does look like a bad time. We'll have time for you in just a minute. There he's got him. 8 seconds flat. 8 seconds flat. A great hand for Sam Sandberg. Boy, there's a man that's showing Sam a great event.
I told you about, Mr. Brown.
I don't want to meet him. What are you trying to do? You trying to come here and wreck the valley?
Now, Mr. Hodgson, it's nothing like that.
It's exactly like that. You buy cheap grapes to make cheap wine. You should know better, Gino, even to talk to a man like this.
Paul, my kids are all in school. Engineer, doctor, lawyer. They don't want my vineyard. What do you want me to work till I die?
Do you like the valley? Do you like me?
Of course I like you.
All right, then you can't sell. If you sell, everybody sells. If everybody sells, then the valley goes. And the valley goes, Gino, who pays quality prices for quality grapes? You can't sell.
Well, I already told them.
I don't care what you told him. You don't sell.
Look, it's not your business.
I make it my business.
Let me through. Gino, Paul, stop you. What are you trying to do, huh? Start that music. Start that music. Come on, start that music. What's he trying to do, huh?
I'll meet you around at the side entrance. As soon as I can.
It's the stupidest thing I ever did in my life. A man shouldn't hit his best friend.
You'll probably be sore tomorrow, and you're lucky you didn't break a rib.
I'm lucky if I can face my friends.
Oh, take it easy, Paul.
Thank you. I never felt so ashamed in my life.
Why should you be? You were only trying to protect the valley.
It's no excuse. Aren't you ashamed of me?
Of course I'm not.
You know something? You're wonderful. You know something else? We're going to take that trip you talked about. Come on, time to go home.
Paul, I think you should go back into the party.
Why?
Well, you don't want people to think that you're running away, do you?
No.
And then there's Gino. You should find him, make up, and apologize. That way you'll feel better.
Are you going to come with me?
No. No, I think that this is something you should do on your own. Anyway, I don't feel very well. It's all this excitement. I'll get a lift home, and afterwards, when you've patched things up, you come home, too. I'll be there.
All right.
Who is it?
Paul Houchin.
What do you want?
I'd like to talk to you about something.
There's no more talking to be done. The weekend's over.
I think there is some talking to do, and it's very important.
If it's about the money and the bracelet, no sale. And please don't start giving me anything about a wife and kids.
I don't have any wife and kids. I want you for my wife. Not a snap judgment. I have the winery and the vineyards and the house and enough money. And I'd like to try to make you and Michael happy. Well, if I have done anything to upset you, I beg your pardon. Is there someone else?
I suppose I'm not so tough after all.
I suppose I knew that from the very beginning.
Look, Paul, you're very nice. That's why I want to be quite honest with you from the beginning. I'm no good. Take Michael. Maybe it's because I hate his father, or maybe it's just because I don't like kids. I don't know.
Where is Mike?
He's gone back to school.
Well?
It isn't only Michael. Look at this room. It's a picture of me and my life. And that's how it's been always. If I were to tell you the things I've
No,
done...
I don't want to hear anything about what you've done. I don't want anything at all. But you know what you are? You're like a vineyard. You're like a vineyard that has been choked with weeds. That can't breathe, and it can't grow, and it can't reach towards the sun because no one's paid any attention to it. And one day there comes somebody, and he takes away the weeds, and the vines begin to grow, and they reach towards the sun. I would like very much to be that someone.
They're turning for home. There goes Flash Fire.
Flash Fire, you can do it. Run, run.
Turning into the stretch, it's Seahawk by a length with Flash Fire moving up along the rail.
Keep it moving, baby. Keep it moving.
They're driving for the wire. It's Flash Fire, whips it and goes.
I win 3 in a row. How's that for big enough?
I think if you're winning.
Oh, no, you don't. Hey, Paul, you hear that? Flash Fire, square on the nose.
That's good.
Another 50 you owe me.
Maybe you'll have to rob that bank after all.
And maybe we better wait. There's 4 more races to go.
And I'm going to nail all 4. Come on, Gino, help me take the nail.
Listen, why don't we get out of here when we get out and leave these racing enthusiasts alone, huh? You looked very beautiful last night in the nightclub. You look even more beautiful by the sea.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. You know you make 2 lonely men very happy? You don't mind if one of the lonely men tried to make you happy back?
Oh, that's the one I showed you last night in the window.
You like that?
Beautiful.
Listen, Mike.
I hate you.
You mustn't hate me. I like your mom and your mama likes me, so why should you hate me?
If my daddy were here, he'd kill you.
He's not here. He's not here, but if he was here, Mike, I'm sure he'd do something wonderful. He'd show you, look here. He'd show you that. You know what that is? It's a magic shell. Have you ever been lonely, Mike?
I'm always lonely.
You take this, you put it in your hand like that, and you put it up to your ear like that. See? And you listen now real hard. And you hear the sea talking to you. And it keeps talking and talking. As long as you have the shell, then the sea will be there to talk to you.
I do hear something in there.
That's right, that's the sea. And the sea's talking to you, so you will never be lonely. Come on, Mike. Come on. Hey, are we all dressed up, huh? All dressed up in our city clothes, are we? Yes, we are. We're all packed, too. Are we really all packed? Well, now, you watch me. See that? There we are. Presto. Now, we're unpacked. Huh?
I don't have to go.
No, you don't have to go because you haven't done anything wrong. See?
But Mommy said...
Never mind what Mommy said. Now, you listen to me. Listen what I tell you. Watch your hand. First of all, sometimes big people make mistakes like little people. Sometimes they say things they don't mean. Sometimes they say them when they're hurt. Sometimes they say them when they're angry. Sometimes they say them when they're not thinking. You understand?
But I didn't do anything to make Mommy angry. Unless last night.
Last night what?
I got out of my bed. I went down the hall. And
what?
And I heard him. And he ran back to bed.
Is that all? That's not so bad, is it? You know what to do? You have to promise me something. You have to promise me to stay in bed at night. You promise?
Yes, Paul.
All righty. Now, listen. You go get a little lunch and then put your rodeo clothes on, all right?
Oh, boy!
Oh, boy is right, oh, boy. What's this about Mike not having his lunch?
He's getting ready to go back to school.
What do you mean he's getting ready to go back to school?
Paul, after we drive in there, do you think that we could go on, just the two of us? Maybe we could drive south to Mexico.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's difficult to explain, but you see, last night, before you came home, I had a funny feeling.
About what?
I don't know. Something to do with the house, I suppose.
I don't know. I don't understand. You still like the house? When Mike came here, you were happy? Now suddenly everything's different, everything's changed. Well, what happened?
What's happened is that I don't want that feeling again.
What feeling?
The one I had last night.
Don't you think you're just getting nervous over something unnecessary? Everybody around here is getting jumpy. My mother's jumpy, my brother's jumpy, and over some foolishness about a prowler.
You're not going to listen to me, are you?
It's not a case of listening or not listening. It's a case of certain things to be considered. Number one is Michael and his feelings. He was promised he could stay here for a month. And number two is my business. I can't just leave here and go marching off to Mexico.
And us?
Us, we'll have to do what my family's always done. We'll have to go to the fair. It's time for us to be adult. You're going to go, aren't you?
If you want me to.
Well, that's sensible. All right, I'll go tell Mike.
Convention over. Don't have to go home until Monday. We got the whole weekend to kill.
Fascinating. We've got other plans for the weekend. They don't include beer and sandwiches.
Well, sandwiches are all they serve in a place like this. Besides, we don't drink hard liquor.
You want something else? Well, don't you ask?
What if I said champagne?
Champagne? All right. Miss?
Yeah.
Can I see your champagne list, please?
Champagne list.
That's right.
We only have one brand here.
Well, could I see it? Whatever it is?
Yeah. Joe, fella here wants to see the champagne.
Big night, huh? This is it.
Thank you very much. It's not champagne. That's not even good cider. No, thank you, Joe. We don't want it. Thank you very much. How'd you like to go someplace and have a real vintage champagne?
With sandwiches?
With caviar, if you like it.
Well, it sounds wonderful.
Now, let's go. You get the bill and we'll get out of here.
Is the wine satisfactory, Mr. Hochin?
I think you better ask the young ladies about that. I want to tell you something, Henry. You may not know it, but you are now standing in the presence of two of the world's greatest connoisseurs of champagne. What's the verdict, girl?
It's the greatest.
And you better chill another bottle, all right?
Right away, Mr. Hochin.
Thank you very much.
You know, for a salesman, you certainly get around. What'd your friend do, rob a bank or something?
Why should Paul have to rob a bank? He's got vineyards, fine wineries, big business. He's got lots of money to spend.
I wouldn't say that, but I got enough for the weekend. So now, how about a date?
As long as this holds out.
All right, then I propose a toast. This is to Saturday and Sunday for dinner, and then Saturday afternoon, what do you say to the races?
Boy, that's living.
Oh, I won't be able to go.
Why not?
It's Michael's day at home.
Well, who's Michael?
He's a 6-year-old souvenir from the Air Force.
Oh.
For heaven's sakes, Phyllis, why don't you call the school and just tell him you can't take him?
Well, I suppose I could. Round the house. That's why I had the gun. And then when he came in... Paul, I didn't mean to.
I'll call the sheriff.
Do you think you believe me?
Why shouldn't he believe you?
Oh, Phyllis. Phyllis.
That's Mama. I better go take care of her.
Lifting that receiver meant the end for me and Sam. He'd never stay with me once he realized what I'd tried to do. Not without the winery and the money, he wouldn't. It didn't come all at once, the new idea. First, it was just a way to keep myself out of it. To get Paul to take the blame. Paul? Before you make that call, I would like to say thank you for everything. And goodbye.
Why goodbye?
Well, You remember when we first met, I told you that I was no good and that I'd been in trouble?
I remember you told me a lot of things, and I remember I told you that I wasn't particularly interested in them.
Well, you better hear them now.
Why now?
Because when we got married, I was on parole. And I didn't get permission. I jumped it. I didn't think that anybody would ever find me as Mrs. Hochin. But now they'll take fingerprints, and when they do, they'll check them, and the parole board will send me back. And after that, I imagine the immigration authorities will take me.
Deport you? Supposing we got a lawyer.
Do you think that I'd come back here and live even if I could? Live with you again, face all your friends?
My friends? What do I care about my friends?
What about Mike?
Bring him to the house?
I forgot that I'd written it.
Even when you saw him come into the house, you forgot?
That's right. I didn't see him till afterwards.
Not until the shot woke you.
That's right. No. I wasn't asleep. How could I have been if I shot him? You're twisting everything round.
Or you are, Mrs. Hochin. Now, assuming for a moment that you did kill Verdugo, why weren't your fingerprints found on the gun?
Because Paul rubbed them off and put his in their place.
Why?
He wanted to take the blame.
But why? If the shooting was accidental, there was no blame attached. Why didn't you just call the sheriff?
Because... I don't know.
Wasn't it actually the other way around, Mrs. Hochin, that you offered to take the blame?
I wanted to, but Paul wouldn't let me.
That sounds more like it, Mrs. Hochin.
Well, I didn't mean it the way it sounds.
Did you touch the poker?
No.
Did you put Paul's fingerprints on the gun?
No, Paul did.
Did you break the lock?
No, Paul did.
Did you move the cards?
No, Paul did.
Did you kill Verdugo?
No, Paul did.
Who did?
Paul did. Sam was waiting for me, but I couldn't go with him yet. For once, I didn't want him too close, because suddenly my plan had grown.
Gina.
Paul?
Give me the gun.
Since the deputy's conclusion happens to be the truth, no questions.
Yes, sir. I've been with the fingerprint section for nearly 17 years. Very well. It's already been established that no one touched the station wagon between the time Deputy Watkins left it in the garage and you came to examine it. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Now, will you tell us now what you found when you examined the station wagon?
The deputy's fingerprints. Watkins.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Verdugo's. You must have found his, too.
No, they were not. At least not on the wheel or the gear shift lever. Somebody wiped them off before the deputy took the car.
Objection. The witness is making an unwarranted conclusion.
Sustained.
Very well. You've stated that you found the deputy's fingerprints on the wheel and the gear shift lever. What else did you find?
Well, attached to the ignition key was a religious medal.
Your Honor, the people would like to introduce in evidence the station wagon's ignition key, to which is attached to St. Christopher medal.
It shall be admitted. People's Exhibit number 4.
Do you recognize it?
Yes, that's the medal.
Now tell us what St. Christopher, or rather the medal, showed you.
2 sets of fingerprints. The deceased?
Gino Verdugo's.
Said I already say I sell.
What was the defendant's reaction?
He hit him. Hit Verdugo, and then the fight started.
Thank you. Your witness, Mr. Hayward.
Now, after the fight, Mr. Brown, was there a further meeting between the two?
Yes.
What happened?
Well, they shook hands and made up.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. That's all.
Court stands recessed until 1 o'clock. Please clear the courtroom. You excuse me a minute?
Certainly.
Come on. You look tired. You go home, huh?
But I want to stay.
I know you want to stay, but you do what the doctor said. You go home resting.
And the other set of friends, who did they belong to?
To the defendant, Paul Ochin.
Your witness, Mr. Hayward.
No questions.
You say the lock was not broken, but the door being pushed in.
No, sir. It was broken from above by some sort of blow.
Thank you. Now, will you tell us what you found on the lock? The bits of rust and metal scrapings from the poker. And on this poker, scratches and gouges. Freshly made? Yes. That's all, thank you. Now, Mr. McNeil, I've asked you to resume the stand to give one more answer, a very important one. A man's life depends upon your answer. It's already been established that the poker was used to break the lock. Whose fingerprints did you find on the poker?
We found one clear set of prints on the handle. Paul Hutchins.
Your Honor, this trial mustn't go on any longer. It wasn't Paul. I killed him.
Do you honestly expect us to believe at this late date that you killed Gino Verdugo believing that he was a prowler?
Keep moving, please.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Now, as to how you found the cards, what did you conclude from their positions?
Well, that the defendant had arrived before the deceased, like he said.
What is it? What's wrong? What? There. That's only the wind blowing the shutters. I fix. Ma che sciocchezze. Hai paura del vento. Neanche se fosse una bambina. Such a silliness from a grown-up woman.
No, it's not silliness, and it's not the wind, Teresa. There's somebody out there. There's someone trying to get in.
The hell? What's the trouble now?
It's Emma. She thought that she heard someone again.
I did, Phyllis. I did. And I heard footsteps, too.
You heard me coming up from the garage to the house.
Is Paul home? Is he putting the car away?
You know Paul. Nothing's going to drag him home before morning.
Well, then why are you here?
Because I had a headache. Where's your husband?
Oh, he's taking a nap.
Well, why don't you go and wake him up and tell him you're both going to the fair?
To the fair?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but Paul said we must stay.
Oh, well, that's before he knew that I was going to be here.
Well, I don't think...
Oh, what difference does it make? It's the last night. There'll be prizes and everybody in the valley is going to be there.
Oh, could we, Emma?
Of course you can. Now, you take the pickup truck and have a wonderful time.
Oh, thanks a million, Mrs. Hodgson.
Two, Phyllis?
Huh? Wouldn't you like a good night's sleep for a change?
Well, yes, but...
No dreams, no nightmares.
Yes.
Just sleep. And it'll make your eyes bright and sparkling again.
Oh, Phyllis.
You see if I'm not right. Close your eyes.